So there are things, overall goals that we have for all of our first year students. And we know we have these goals because we know from studying the literature that this is what helps students to succeed, to finish college, and have a great time doing it. So in their first year, we really want students to obviously progress forward in their academics. And to have some ideas, some academic clarity about, and even if they haven't completely decided on a major, but some interests that they're really interested, that they want to pursue. We're also obviously hoping for satisfactory academic performance, meaningful connection with peers, and a sense of belonging to the university. Academics is incredibly important, right? That's what the whole deal is about. But connecting to the campus, research shows that is equally as important in terms of their success, how they do in school, and if they're staying and finishing up. So we work a lot to try to support students to be able to have these things at the end of their first year. And so we're going to talk about those things this morning. We're going to talk about academics, we're going to talk about involvement, and the support and resources that are available for your students while they're here. So like I said, there's two main aspects to persistence in college: academic integration, their performance, their progress, their passion and commitment, and connection to faculty. If you're talking with your students, the more that they can connect with their faculty, they should go to the office hours, get to know their faculty. It makes such a tremendous difference, and it's such a learning experience, even those conversations. So encourage your students to really connect and get to know their faculty. And then social integration, finding a group of friends that fit for them, and enjoyment and involvement are really important. Some of the academic assistance programs that I just wanted to make you aware of in case you may know about these. Supplemental instruction is offered for several classes, and what that is that's usually a student who has already taken the class and will and done well in the class, often in the major, upper class student who will come back and go through the class with perhaps your student who may be enrolled in it. And then in the evenings, we'll lead discussions or review the material. And it really helps students. Studies show that students who go to SI sessions get higher grades than students who don't. So if your student is struggling, and it's a lot of times we'll have supplemental instructions for those classes where we know can be challenging for students, encourage them to connect with, it's called SI a lot of times, or supplemental instruction. We have tutoring that's available. The Writing Center is an incredible resource if they're if they can't really figure out a research topic, they're having trouble with the organization, reviewing writing, all that stuff, an incredible resource for students. Library, obviously. Academic Advising Center, I know they're doing several presentations this morning too, so you can talk with them. Disability Services, important for access and accommodations for those students who need that. Faculty office hours, as I was just talking about. Dean of Students Office, which that's where I am, and that's a huge part of what my job is meeting each day with students to talk about their concerns, especially if there's some kind of difficulty or challenge that's going on. We're here. We will go that extra 10 miles to do whatever we can to help your student. And then we have an office for first-generation college students that really supports our students who are first-generation in college. I just want to say a little bit about majors. I know I've talked with parents who have a lot of concern about it, and I just wanted you to know if your student has changed majors already 2 times, don't worry. 50 to 60% of college students change their major while they're in school. So it's a really typical thing where they're sort of figuring out who they are and who they want to be. I just wanted to let you know that. We have lots and lots of students who come in undecided and even continue into undecided into their second year, and that's great because they're really taking the time to figure out where their academic home is. And if they want assistance in kind of exploring that, our Career Development Center, who I think is also presenting today, and Academic Advising Center can sit down with your students and help them figure those pieces out. Just so you know, we look really closely at how students are doing in their progress, and we've looked at the fall 2010 to fall 2011 cohort, seeing what's going on. Academic progress. Students who complete 12 units a semester, 91.7% retention. That's sort of generally where the university is. And anything that starts with a 9 is incredible at a university, so just so you know that. And students who didn't were retained less. So again, that academic progress is really important. Student club membership. Students who belong to a club, and Mike's going to talk about that in a minute. 96% returned for their sophomore year. Students who didn't, 88%. So you can see that involvement makes a difference. Greek life. And FYS means first year student. 93% came back for their sophomore year and 89.4% came back that didn't join Greek. So that connection, that belonging to the community really does make a difference for students in feeling like, yes, I want to keep pushing forward. We have a program called MapWorks that is a tool that we use to kind of take the temperature of students and see how they're doing. There are surveys that go out. There's one that went out in the fall, and there's one that just went out for the spring that asks them how things are going in all kinds of ways. How's it going with their roommates? How's it going with their classes? Are there classes they're struggling with? How are things going with their connections? Are they feeling really homesick? We try to assess all those things because all those things really affect students and how they're going to do. So that's what MapWorks is. Some of the information that we look at to try to just sort of gauge how they're doing and we look at their entrance information, their major, their residence hall, freshman foundation course, so we can kind of look at the situation with the student from all kinds of angles. So students will get the survey after completing it. They'll have access to their information to see, they can look at themselves to see how they're comparing, because it compares them with the other peers at the institution. And how to be more successful. It will give them a lot of tips if there is a problem area that's coming up. If they note that they're struggling in one class, then MapWorks will show them, again, those resources that I was just talking to you about, but they can get that through their MapWorks, how their peers are doing, and then, again, resources that are available to them. And we, for students that, we really try to connect with students. So if we see that something came up that, boy, something may not be going great with their roommates, well, let's reach out to this student and see whatever we can do to help them. Something's not going right with their academics. All right, let's connect with them. Let's get them connected to resources. And also so they know that we care, because it can make a big difference if they know that we're really interested in helping them to succeed, and we want them to be happy and well. So the survey's open for the spring, so encourage your student to take it. They get a free Einstein bagel if they take one. So we're encouraging them to take it. And they also are entered in a drawing for 200 additional Panther bucks. So it's so important, and it really helps us to be able to connect with students on the things that they need. So we really want them to take it. So encourage them to do so. And I'm going to turn it over to Mike, who's going to talk some more about involvement.
Wow, a free bagel. I would take the survey. Good morning. My name is Mike Kaiser. I'm the Student Union Program Coordinator and the advisor for the University Program Board. So now that Dee-Ann's talked a little bit about the foundationary principles of our talk today and some of the resources that are available, I'm going to go into detail about some opportunities for involvement on campus and how your students can get involved. Those opportunities for involvement, as Dee-Ann said, do contribute to their sense of belonging on campus and are as important as academic success. So on this slide, we've got a couple pictures of our involvement fair, which happens every semester. We actually just had our spring involvement fair last Wednesday, and so we have all of our organizations out there, live music, free food. As we've said, free food really gets the students out there. And so that's a really fun opportunity for students who are already involved but looking for another organization, or maybe they missed the boat in the fall and they're looking for something new in the spring. You can sign up for clubs all over the piazza each semester. So one note about the importance of on-campus involvement. We think that obviously there's opportunities to have jobs off campus or get involved off campus, but we think that getting involved on campus is very important because it provides connections to the staff, so Dee-Ann and myself and others like us, or faculty and peers. It's also very convenient for students. We work our schedules around their schedules. It's right here on campus. They can stop by their job working with me up in student and campus life for a few hours in between classes, so it's very convenient for them. We also limit the amount of work that they do for paid campus jobs to 19 hours per week because we find that's a good balance between having something that they're very committed to but not overdoing it where it takes away from time for academics. So one very easy way to get involved is student clubs and organizations. As I mentioned, we have our involvement fair. We have over 100 clubs ranging from religious and spiritual to leadership organizations, service, leisure, you name it, we probably have it. But it's also growing very quickly. So if you have a student who is saying, well, I don't really know if there's anything for me out there, but I have this idea, I'm not sure if anyone else is interested in it, we'll encourage them to create their own club. Just this past semester, we had 27 new clubs created, which is an increase of 15 or 20% in one semester. So Chapman is growing, but our department encourages that. It's an awesome leadership opportunity for them too to take on that role of creating something new. OrgSync is a great tool. It's a website, basically like Facebook for student organizations. That's the best analogy I can do. Each organization has its own page on OrgSync, and any student at Chapman has a free profile that they can create. They can get on there, search through all of our different organizations. This is actually a snapshot of one of the home pages right there. One of the best tools with OrgSync is the org matching survey, and this is something where the student can go in, fill out some information about themselves, and then OrgSync will automatically tell it, based on that information, a list of organizations that it recommends that they consider applying for. And so through OrgSync, they can communicate with the club president. Organizations can put applications on there. It's a really great tool. So if you have a student who's not that motivated, maybe they're not going to go to the fair, we'll nudge them towards OrgSync because it's a very easy way from the comfort of their own dorm room. They can log on and see what we have to offer. So now I wanted to go into detail about a few specific opportunities that are available on campus. Since your students are freshmen, they're going into their sophomore year, maybe they're looking for leadership opportunities. So a lot of these organizations will offer that for your student. Student Government Association is our advocacy organization on campus. The picture you see there is our executive board for this year. So it's a really wonderful leadership development opportunity because they work right alongside the administration in addressing student needs. So there's 23 Senate positions as well as the executive board. Like I said, a really great opportunity if your student is interested in that sort of thing. Elections will be held beginning next week. So it's not too late for students who are interested in getting involved with that. They'll start with the president and then they'll move on through the Senate throughout the spring semester. The University Program Board is our new programming body on campus. I'm a little bit biased because I'm the advisor, but I like to say this is one of the best opportunities on campus for sure. We have leadership opportunities for students who want to have a paid position in event planning. So we do large-scale concerts, we do parties on campus, we're involved in a lot of the traditional programs like homecoming as well, but we also do awareness and guest speakers, a little bit of everything. But if your student is just sort of wanting to get involved, since a lot of freshman students probably are, a great opportunity for freshman students is to join as a general member volunteer. And so they'll assist us as part of the committees in putting on these programs. We'll begin hiring in March for all of our leadership opportunities. Greek life is another big part of campus. We have 14 fraternities and sororities, and they do recruitment in the spring and the fall. They're sort of wrapping that up right now, I understand, but the fall is always another opportunity if your student is considering that. One thing I really love about our Greek life system, I'm somewhat new to Chapman, but I really think that it's a welcoming place. They're actually very cooperative with one another, and it's a wonderful community. And they put on some great programs that the entire community on campus kind of stops and centers around those things each semester. The Department of Housing and Residence Life is another great chance for your students to get involved. We have paid opportunities listed there at the top, like resident advisors, office assistants, but also chances for them to represent their peers on the residence hall councils and the residence hall association. So those are other chances too. Then the Department of Student and Campus Life. This is basically the student activities office on campus. So they put on the student involvement fair as well as managing all of those organizations, the 100 plus organizations on campus. So the way your student can get involved is to apply to be a part of our office. Unfortunately, we just finished our recruitment process for this semester, but we do hire 20 to 40 paid positions each year. They assist us with putting on our programs. They help us with publicity and promotions, website design. The best part about on-campus jobs, I think, including in Department of Student and Campus Life, is that they're focused on development too. So the education your student receives won't stop in the classroom. It's going to continue as they work with us as well. Some other chances, athletics and intramurals. We're very proud of our women's lacrosse team, so I thought I'd give them a shout out. They were our national champions for 2011. There's other, yeah, let's do that. So congrats to them. And men's and women's lacrosse season is happening right now. It's a very popular sport on campus. But there's also chances for intramurals. We have ultimate frisbee, basketball, and soccer. And then some really popular recreational activities that I've cited there at the bottom. The famous Dodi Strupa rock wall over in the residence halls, as well as the Masan Beach Club, which is quickly becoming the hot spot, the place to be on campus. If you can't find your student during the day, they're probably over there at the pool, taking advantage of this weather that we have out here. Some additional involvement. The stuff listed on this page is focused on admissions, orientation, and alumni relations. We really like to reach out and have students be a part of orientation so they can be orientation assistants or orientation coordinators. Encourage your students to do that. If they really have a love of Chapman and they want to pass that on to the incoming class of the future, then they can apply for this. The application's open right now. Some of the positions are volunteer, some are paid, but the main thing is they'll act as peer mentors for incoming students, assist those students in their transition onto campus. It's really a great opportunity because it's one of service, and so they provide their time to these new students and build that connection for future years. The ambassadors are pictured there at the bottom in their fancy red jackets. They act as alumni relations, sort of the face of Chapman to guests on campus when we have major events. And then there's also tour guides. I'm sure most of you have been on tours of campus. Those are very involved students who love Chapman and work through our admissions office. And wrapping up the involvement is academic involvement opportunities. So we have different student employment, internships through our Career Development Center, undergraduate research. We have 11 honor societies on campus that students can seek out. The honors program over in DeMille Hall, study abroad through Center of Global Education, opportunities like the debate team, and then also seeking out prestigious scholarships and fellowships. And before I hand it over to Dee-Ann to wrap things up, I just wanted to provide some examples of some programs and events that we've done this year that provide those connections that we've been talking about. On the first day of school, we had our Student Union opening day. This was downstairs right below us. The union just opened this past fall. We had free food, over 1,000 free giveaways for students. It was basically like a welcome back party for students. It was so successful that I think we'll be doing it every year from now on. So even though we're already open, we're going to reopen every year. So that's a great opportunity. We also do something called Welcome Week. The University Program Board really tries to do a lot of programs near the beginning of the year because we know that's the time when students are trying to find their fit on campus. So if you look on this list, you have Monday night was a free music performance in the union. You can come and get some food, watch some people perform. We had a free movie screening, some free ice cream, which is good. And then we had a comedy performance on Thursday night with several hundred students that came out. And then finally, the program board also sponsored an Impulse concert in November. This was our first major concert. I was in the down in the gymnasium, and we had almost 1,000 students come out. It was a dance concert, so it was a lot of fun. And one of the biggest pictures there is program board students with 303, which was the main band that was there. So with that, I'll hand it back over to Dee-Ann, who can wrap things up.
So we wanted to just talk a little bit about the spring semester and what are some of the things that your students are going to be dealing with, and then perhaps some suggestions for how you can support them. So, second semester I think is a students feel, I think, a level of, wow, I made it through the first semester. I know what the deal is. I feel so much more comfortable. So there is this more of a sense of ease. I have some friends. I know what to expect in classes. So it really does. They have some confidence, I think. There are also choices that are coming up. There's housing deadlines are approaching, other kinds of deadlines that are out there that students need to be aware of, just to make sure that they're getting applied for things they need to apply for and meeting those deadlines. Spring break is coming up too in March. So one of the things that we see, and there's lots of students, really anticipate spring break and have a lot of fun. But one of the things we encourage parents to do is to chat with their students about it, so that those plans are going in the right direction. And we want everyone to have a great time at their time off, but also be very safe. And then financial concerns with spring break and summer coming up, they're often thinking about summer jobs and summer internships and what am I going to be doing over the summer. We encourage two-way communication. I think we would do that all the time. Problem solving, as they're sort of negotiating and figuring out their way, your support in their problem solving and helping them kind of figure out alternatives and what direction they want to go is great. Time management is something that first-year students especially work on. It's the first time for a lot of them that they've been in charge of how much time they're studying, how much time they're socializing. And I think they continue to balance those things. I think they get a path on that a little bit in their fall semester, but they continue to balance those things in the spring semester. And then I suggest that you chat with your student about spring break for their plans for that. April. What to expect decisions. They're going to be doing registration. If they haven't decided on a major yet, they may be feeling some pressure about that, although please know we have many students who go into their second year undecided, so if they're still not ready, that's okay too. And sometimes students may feel bad about that, but encourage them not to. It's a normal thing. And again, decisions coming up about summer plans. Procrastination as the temperature rises. People start to feel like, even though it's so beautiful all year round, but you do get a little bit of cabin fever and I want to get out there and have fun. And that's also coincides with the time with getting all your final papers in and getting ready for finals. So that's something you may just want to check in with your student on how things are going as they come towards the end of the semester. And then stress during final exams. I'm sure you all talked with your students, and then when they came home after finals in the fall, so that dropped. And then excitement as they get ready to move on to their sophomore year, if they finished up their first year. Talk to your student about their final projects. Again, when that really great weather comes out, that they are still keeping focused on their academics and getting those things done that they need to. And then it'll be time to pack up the room and head home. And I'm sure that you all are doing this, but validate their positive work. It's so exciting to go off to college, but it's such a stressful thing too, right? And when they get done with that first year, it is such a tremendous accomplishment for them as an emerging adult. So I'm sure you're doing that, but we thought we'd put that up there. And then this is our contact information. And this is the first time we've done this session for the parent conference. So we tried to put together the things that we thought when I talked to parents, what I thought they would want to know, but we may have missed some things. So we wanted to leave some time at the end for questions too. So if there are things that you want to know that we didn't address, or you want to know a little bit more about what we talked about, we'll open it up for questions for you all. This past year, it was about 67% of our sophomores lived on campus. We saw a pretty big increase in the number of sophomores interested in living on campus. We're very committed to try to make sure that we have housing for all of our first-year students and our sophomore students. So that housing selection process is going on now. They can go onto the housing portal and apply for that and make sure that they're ready to go for the selection process. And I think over here, he was asking about move out and how move out works from housing. Once they finish their finals, we ask that they be gone the day after that. Now, if there is a problem with that, if they're from out of the area, then we will work with them. All they need to do is talk to their residence life staff. If their tickets are on Saturday, we will work with them. But that's sort of generally how it works when they're finished with their finals. And there is a safety element to that too, because at the end of the semester, students who are done and with free time can get into other kinds of things that we want everybody to be safe. So, but we ask that they be out 24 hours after the last final. If there's a problem with your son or daughter with their personal arrangements for that, it's no problem. You just connect with the residence life staff. Yes. And the question is there summer housing? There is summer housing. It's in the apartments. The residence halls are used for conferences in the summer, so it is in the apartments, but we absolutely have summer housing that's available. So if the students want to stay on campus, they can. There is an additional cost for that. It's not like interterm where it's included in the cost for spring and fall. There is an additional cost, but we absolutely have summer housing. Yes. The question is there summer classes, and are there additional costs? Yes, there are summer classes, and yes, that is not included in the cost of fall and spring tuition. Sure. She was asking if there's an opportunity to sell your books back at the end of the semester, and there absolutely is. Our bookstore will be doing book buyback at the beginning of finals week and throughout finals week. Yes. The question is, how do we calculate their class standing, I think, basically, or how do we calculate how many units that they have completed when we're figuring out their registration time? They'll be given credit for the units that they've taken, and then the units that they're attempting in the semester, so we'll know that they're going to be sophomores. Yes. The question is, how does it work with a 12-month and 9-month contract for the apartments, and those who are going to be living here in the summer that are doing the 12-month contract will have an earlier time to go through the housing process. If there's someone else who wants to take their spot in the summer, and the question is, if they do the 12-month, can they sublet that during the summer? They wouldn't be the ones subletting it. They would want to work with the housing office, and we could make that happen for them. But if there is a summer student that wants to live in their apartment over the summer, we will definitely help them with that. Yes. The question is, what is the difference, I think, between the residence halls and the apartments? Is that correct? Yes. Okay. So the apartments do have, they'll have a full kitchen, so they'll be able to cook their own meals. They can purchase meal plans if they want to, and many of our apartment students do purchase either a full meal plan or a commuter meal plan, because there's a lot of convenience involved in that. But it's not part of the package, where the students in the residence halls don't have a kitchen, so they're on the meal plan. They have, it's an apartment, it's a bigger space. But I think those are kind of some of the main differences around apartments.
Would it be furnished?
Yes, it's furnished. The question is, are the apartments furnished? Yeah, the apartments are furnished. Yes. So the question is, if they're signing a 12-month lease, how does move out and move in work for them at the end of this year? They'll be staying in their current assignment until we have their summer assignment ready. So once the students who are in the apartments move out, we'll get those turned over and cleaned and ready for them, and then we'll notify the student when they can move into their summer apartment. It's usually sometime towards the end of the first week after graduation. It takes us about a week to get everything cleaned and ready to go. And the question is, are we increasing the number of classes available for students as there's been some growth? The number, I think we had a 15% growth in the number of classes available this year, and there will absolutely be growing the number of classes that are available. It's far exceeded any growth, percentage growth in terms of what's happening with the student population here at the university. So. The question is, do we ever open up classes if there's a lot of students on a waiting list? Do we open up additional sections? Yes, they do sometimes, especially for major courses. The departments will do that, but that's the departments kind of weigh and look at those wait lists and see their majors and see what those students are needing. So they do. It's not always the case, but there are times when we do open up additional sections if there's a large waiting list. We'll be up here at the end, but I thank you, and it's nice to have a chance to talk to you all.